there was some oxygen deprivation that we didn't realize that we were experiencing until we were back into this civilization.
Welcome to 10-Minute Travels. With me, as always, is Phil Freeman.
And with me, as always, is Shane Patrick. We're going to talk about motorcycle riding in India with Robert Morgan. And if you want to learn about anything else that 10 Minute Travels talks about, check us out at 10minutetravels.com.
Let's get right to it, shall we?
And we headed on to the Nubra Valley, and that valley is basically, you go just a little bit further, you're in Pakistan, and we're just getting away from the China border. But it's a strange mix. I think of it as like the T intersection of the Silk Road. There's a huge Islamic influence there. There are minarets. You have call to prayer early in the morning and throughout the day, so you can hear that. It's a bit of an oasis. Like there's water, so they've got places to grow things, but it's very dry and arid. If you're not in the floodplain. You have monasteries, so you have a Buddhist influence there as well. And then, of course, you have the Hindu influence of the Indians, the government, the soldiers dressed in, like traditional sheet garb and stuff like that. So it's a real mix up there, and it's almost like a timeless place. What was it like to walk into the oasis there? We finally got to a decent place.
Right. I mean, certainly a culture shock. And this was that, what do you call it? It was glamping again, correct?
Well, I guess you'd call it that, but it was even a step above that. But yeah,
sure. Yeah. But it was that's the oasis with the hammocks and the, yeah. So, I mean, first off, we're coming from areas that have just that are forgotten in time, and then we're coming back into a obviously a town and a culture.
Well, and for a minute, that last place we stayed at on Pangong Lake, it had no driveway. We had to go on our pegs and off-road it just to get there. And when we get there, I asked the two most American things you can ask: do you have hot water, and what is the Wi-Fi code? I hate to do that, but I know that everybody needs it, and I got to get them the juice, right? Well, first of all, hot water doesn't come on till 7, and there is no internet. So this is what we just came from, and we had to drive out of there. So that was our last experience.
Yeah. So coming back into civilization, most certainly we're seeing kids getting picked up in their school bus, also known as army trucks. We're seeing really a very it's a very Chinese influence there. Yeah. So a different look to the people even. So it was certainly like we had shown up in a new world.
And then we pull into our place, and by this time I have to say that we're beaten down. We've been glamping and been at above sea level way up there for so long, and we've been eating pretty modestly, and we're lucky if the toilet flushes, and we've been India's broken us, and then all of a sudden as soon as you come into this garden, it's an Eden with modern buildings and beautiful and just professionally dressed staff coming at you at all directions, one with the sash to put around you, another one with the welcome drink. And all of a sudden, they're carrying your luggage for you, and you go to your room, and it's beautiful, and you can see that there's a really strong Wi-Fi signal. It was really weird. We're so used to getting beaten down. It was almost like another world.
Yeah. And electricity consistent, which is unreal.
Yeah.
So what elevation are you at now? Because I mean, spending time at elevation is really hard on the body for folks who haven't done it. It really does get to you.
Yeah, we were staying above 10,000 feet and up to 14,500. We stayed for almost 10 days.
And so was the oasis lower as well then?
Not so much. I would say It was still up there. I think it was around 10 grand.
10,000, yeah.
And that was for us, that was the lowest we'd been for days. On day, we could feel it. We felt much better.
Sure. Yep.
The little pinging headaches are starting to recede even on the ride down. Um, there was some oxygen deprivation that we didn't realize that we were experiencing until we were back into this civilization. So it was a reprieve in lots of different ways.
Yeah, you just sort of feel like you get used to feeling miserable, and then all of a sudden you don't feel miserable, and you're like, oh yeah, that kind of sucked back there.
uh, yeah, it takes a special kind of person to want to go to a place like India. That's for sure. And like it. So we finally got to a decent place. We're on our last legs. We're going to the barn, so to speak. It's our last day of riding. We need to go back to Leh. It's not a long, long day, distance-wise, maybe 2 lifetimes away. And we have to go up to almost 18,000 feet. It's billed as the second highest, but that's what the signs say. But if you look at it on the internet, it's like the 11th highest. Anyway, it's really freaking high up there. And there was some urgency from Anu in the morning. He started looking at the clouds and he started looking at us. He goes, "We should go now."
Yeah.
And we jumped on it and we started following him and we started climbing. And I was nervous too because I was like, this is the last day of the trip. Please, let's just get through this nice, safe and sound. Please, let's just make this easy. And we started climbing and the snow line started getting closer to us and we could see it was snowing up valley. And then we took one brief stop to layer up and everybody layered up. It was getting cold and you could feel it amongst the group. There was a tension, and it wasn't a bad one, but it wasn't a good one. It was like more of a survival one. Like we've made it so far, and all we got to do is go right over this hill. And Anu needs us to go earlier than later because he's worried that it'll get snowed out. And we start climbing up into the fog.
Well, and we've been on the Murphy's Law of episode of everything that you know we can think of that could go wrong has gone wrong, right? So we're starting to see for the first time really some anxiety from Anu, and so when he says let's go, we need to get out of here. Yeah, we cut our breakfast short and got on the road for sure. And it wasn't a short. I mean, it was a short day in kilometers, but it was not an easy day because we're immediately almost climbing. And we had the ride up as I recall is a lot of long uh, uh, gradual switchbacks, but then we get to the top and find the circus has arrived, right?
Tell us about the circus. Well, first of all, leading up to the circus was this fog. More grapple is falling onto the roadway. It's starting to get arguably dangerous. How much further do we need to go? You can't see around the corner. Those last few corners, it's precipitous. It falls into infinity and you can't see it. Then once in a while, a car or a bike will come the other way and you think, okay, so the road must be open. And where is this pass? And then we come around the corner. And what did you see there?
Oh, what? 200, 300, 400 people, 100 or so bikes, all parked in various locations. So, I mean, this pass is remarkably close to Leh, which is a major a major metropolitan, and obviously this second highest motorable pass in the world is an attraction that many people go to. So we get up to the top of this pass, and having not seen the road in front of us, we finally get to the top where the sun's shining and we are there with all of Leh at that point.
Yeah, parked everywhere haphazardly in a place where you couldn't see further than a throw of the Nerf football. Selfie sticks everywhere. Is pandemonium. Somehow the gatekeeper just knocked down the gate to Disneyland and we rode right into it. We're
But what do you think it was like that every day, or was there something that you missed that was happening?
Well,
Festival or?
Well, that's a good question. I talked to Anu a little bit about that, how many bikes we saw the day before on the other pass. And he goes, it's very unusual to have this much traffic with motorcycles. But what happened is in May, there were a few fatalities. There was some shooting going on between Pakistan and India further to the west. And that closed the whole riding season for the first half of the summer. So all the Indians piled on the second half. So you had 1/3 at least more people on the road that should not have been there. Everybody was there then. When we came around that corner, you have all these mostly local Indian people just having a ball as it's snowing, as it's clearly dangerous that you need to get down from this mountain. And they couldn't take more time just to take photos and enjoy. And it was like, oh, happy day. And I thought, I don't think they're getting it. I think we should go.
Yeah, I think at most we were up top for 10 minutes, if even that. We didn't even get in front of the pretty sign to take our group photo. We got in front of a sign where everybody wasn't crowded around it. Took a quick selfie shot and jumped back on the bikes. And you know, it may have been partially exhaustion. It may have been partially the come down of knowing that we're last day. But we were ready to not have an issue. It was time to get off that mountain.
Indeed. That was Robert Morgan talking about riding motorcycles in India. And if you want to learn anything else about 10-minute travels, check out 10minutretravels.com.
And we want to remind you to make sure that your sense of humor matches your sense of adventure. And please like, subscribe, and share this podcast on all the platforms.